Namaste, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, based on what location you are or at what time of the day you are watching this conversation. You're all very welcome. So today's topic that we have is yoga in 21st century. Little bit of introduction about myself. So my name is Sooksham and I work for a financial company as a software manager, and I'm also a volunteer for the Art of Living. By the way, this conversation is brought to you by ImageNation NI. So I work for volunteer for Art of Living organization as well, which specializes in stress management and self-development programs using breath work and meditation primarily. And I've been facilitating and teaching these programs for more than 10 years. And we are very fortunate to have with us in this conversation today, Mr. Ashok Sharma. And he doesn't need any introduction, but just for completeness sake, very welcome, Sharmaji. Just for completeness sake, Sharmaji has been in UK since 1974. He came to Belfast in 1977. He's a founding member of Sri Laxmi Narayan Temple, also known as Indian Community Center, and has been serving it since 1978. You have also been founder trustee of Hindu Council of Ireland since 2007, and you have served as Hindu Chaplin to the Lord Mayor, and you have also organized a number of programs in wide variety of fields in Belfast, isn't it, Sharmaji? You have organized the annual Kavi Sammelan, the Festival of India. I'm sure everybody in Belfast knows about it, Festival of India, and more recently, International Yoga Day as well.
That was a great success.
The list goes on, right? And also, you established Ireland's oldest Indian restaurant in 1985, Archana. So today's topic, Sharmaji, is conversation on yoga, basically, and especially how it can be effective in 21st century. But before we actually talk about that, I would like to get your thoughts on what is yoga?
What is yoga? Yoga, to me, if you guys said what is yoga or what it means, that's very, very vast. It's like this, in the phrase we have, Gagar mein Sagar, you know?
Yes.
But yoga, literally, we have different type of yoga. People nowadays, they connect yoga only with the postures or exercise.
Correct.
But we have yoga, Adi Yoga, start from the Lord Shiva. It's mentioned in Upanishads, you know. And that was compiled by our sages, rishis. Bhakti Yoga. They did meditation, devotional meditation to achieve. They did from, one could go with Bhakti Yoga thousands of years. Jnana Yoga, Raj Yoga, Hatha Yoga, and the list goes on. But nowadays, if we just concentrate, say, what the people now wants to know, the yoga, that's the consciousness of mind and body when we bring it together through meditation and posture to achieve health and peace of mind, you know, and nothing, and it doesn't cost anything.
Correct.
Doesn't cost anything.
Yes.
So to me, yoga in today's language is combination of mind and posture, which means meditation and exercise, which comes through pranayam, dhyanam, you see. So it's a combination of all these things.
Very nicely said. You know, I would like to quote one of the verses from Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, and we can talk about Patanjali a little bit more later as well. The second verse in the Yoga Sutra says, Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha.
That's exactly what I explained you.
Exactly. Yes. So yoga and chitta means our mind, no?
Your consciousness.
The consciousness. And vritti is any fluctuations in it, right? And nirodha is
Wavering.
wavering, oscillations, right? And nirodha is stillness. So yoga is that which brings stillness to the fluctuations of the mind. You know, if you read our old scriptures as well, and one of the main ones that comes to my mind is Yoga Shishta. Say it's all mind stuff, right?
It is.
And the whole purpose of anything that we do in spiritual path is to bring to to be no mind. You know, as we say, never mind. To have no mind, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
as you rightly said, there are, and even Patanjali, Rishi Patanjali has divided this yoga into 8 different limbs. You know, they say there are 8 limbs of yoga.
That's right. Yeah.
And as we say, uh, today we just think of yoga as only exercises or postures, specifically in the Western side. But that asanas is just one limb out of those 8. So that's only 1/8 of what yoga really is.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Isn't it?
Sooksham, I'll tell you one thing. See, I've been doing yoga the last 50 years. I'm 71. And maybe more than 50 years, you can say, in the days of. But what we were told to control your consciousness, what we just say, vritti, chaturvritti. And that was the dhyanam.
Correct.
Because when in school, the first thing in the morning was the yoga.
Ji.
Nowadays, it's like saying something absolutely wrong if we mention yoga in the schools. But in our time, in the open field, 8:15 every morning in winter and 6:45 in summer.
Ji. You remember time also so well. That type of yoga as well, right?
Yeah. Half an hour yoga.
Ji.
You start with the pranayam, you start with the Sukhasan, Padmasan. The list goes on. And I tell you, see, the whole day was so beautifully constructive that I still have the same thing. See, if I don't do yoga in the morning, say for 40 minutes, it feels to me that I'm lost. I'm lost. I do just do what do you call basic exercise. I don't do deep one. But yoga today is the most essential part of our life. As I said, it doesn't cost you anything, but if you have it, you have to get the time out. You got to be mentally ready. You got to be totally dedicated towards it.
Correct.
Achieve. If your mind is wavering, exercise are not helpful. Because as you know, you are very well into this one. Once you are in the doing the yoga, and right in the middle, you feel that your body is already elated. You feel so light.
So light.
Literally, you feel so light. Sitting in the Padmasana, you don't even feel that you're sitting in the Padmasana, which for some people is most difficult asana.
Yes. No, very nice. Very nice. And yes, as you said, all these different branches and different types of yoga, Raj Yoga, Karma Yoga, Kriya Yoga.
That's right.
I remember one of the sages also said, one of the learned person also said, you can unite even while you're playing football. It's all about unite. So yoga in Sanskrit, basically yoga just means union, right?
To bring together, yes.
And the union of what? Union of our body is always here, isn't it? It's always in the present. Body is never in the past or future, right?
Yeah.
So body is here, and this breath is always here. We're always breathing right now. What is not here is our mind, right?
Right.
And this yoga is basically this union of this body, mind, breath, soul, isn't it? And that's the literal meaning of yoga, isn't it?
But this is the even this little meaning, but it's very difficult to achieve it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Unless you have the, how to put it, the uh, tuning. Okay, all those threes.
Yes.
In one line, you can't achieve the benefits you are destined to achieve it.
And the sages have given us all these different techniques to achieve that union as well, isn't it? That is the literal meaning, but the asanas and the breathing and meditation, they are the tools to achieve that union, isn't it?
I mean, look at the benefits of yoga. The certain yogas are made for, like weight loss, diabetes, blood pressure. I mean, they are, you can get away from them, you can get rid of them by spending not anything, but just controlling, doing certain posture and bringing your, see, why do we need yoga? To relieve our tension, first thing. In the modern world, tension is the killer. And if we can win over tension, we can win all the ailments. You know, if you have tension, your blood pressure goes up. Yes. You can't get proper sleep. If you can't get proper sleep, you're tired. Tiredness will lead to a lot of other things, obesity and things like that.
Absolutely. You know, one thing that reminds me, Sharmaji, about this karma yoga that I mentioned, is the yoga in action, right? And whenever I think of it, and when I think of you about it, what reminds me is, I know ImageNation NI, they have done such a wonderful work in bringing some of the things that we have not been doing in the past in Northern Ireland, specifically likes of Rath Yatra, for example, right? And we all got the Rath Yatra together last year. And I remember, Sharmaji, even at this age, right? You could have been sitting back, right? But even at this age, you're so enthusiastic. And I remember when everybody was pulling the Rath, you were out there and distributing water bottles, right? Yeah. And juices and I think some snack packs. And that is what that yoga brings out, that energy, that enthusiasm, that selfless service as well. That is another dimension of yoga, isn't it?
Yeah, but see, this is also, yoga is also a management. It starts with your own self-discipline.
Discipline, yes.
See, when you are doing yoga, you're disciplined, you have disciplined yourself. Because after doing yoga continuously for many, many years, it brings sort of freshness in your face. It brings happiness in your face. Because there's no tension.
Yes.
Even if there's a tension being in business, but it's relieved because you know the way.
Yes.
You know the way how to get out of the tension. I have a rule. Sorry, it's slightly out of it. That I don't bring my business home.
Business home, correct.
Once locked,
it's out.
It's out. Nobody's allowed to talk in the house about the business.
Yes.
My home is my home, and time is for my family.
Yes.
Have a meal with them, play with the grandchildren, children. Fantastic.
Yes. Yes.
So once you have discipline, you have less tension, blood pressure,
yes,
diabetes, obesity. It's all changed.
Diseases. Yes.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about how did it all start, Sharmaji? What are your thoughts on? We know that it's a very ancient practice, obviously originated in India. Like from our ancient scriptures, what is the thought about how did yoga start?
Well, according to me, or what I've studied so far, through different scripts and through different comments, people say that Lord Shiva who started it, Adi Yoga.
Adi Yogi. Ji.
If you even look at Lord Shiva, Dhyanasana, he's doing the Dhyan Yoga. We have a small group. Every Thursday we do Ramayana reading. And last Thursday, it was Lord Shiva's wedding with the Ma Parvati.
Right.
And the story behind is that when Sati was the daughter of Daksh Prajapati,
Sanjay.
And because of the disrespect caused by her father to Lord Shiva,
Mm.
and she died because of she just jumped in the fire, okay? And but always wanted the wife of Lord Shiva.
Ji.
For that, she had to do a lot of tapasya, which is yoga again,
Sanjay.
bhakti yoga.
Ji.
And Lord Shiva also shut himself, closed the eyes for many, many thousands of years,
Mm.
because there's a story behind it. We don't want to go that way. But that's where I think the yoga started.
Absolutely.
And then we have in Vedas, I think it's Rig Veda, it's mentioned in there. Then you have Patanjali.
Ji.
So it's a evolution of yoga, we can say.
Correct. Sanjay.
It's evolution.
Sanjay.
Started from Lord Shiva.
Ji.
Swayambhu.
Swayambhu.
He's a Swayambhu.
Ji.
Taken. And wo kya hai? He is the way we have Tridev, Bhagavan Vishnu,
Sanjay.
Lord Brahma, Brahma the creator, Vishnu the preserver, and Lord Shiva, destroyer of not humanity, but of the evil. You know? But at the same time, Lord Shiva is the only one who can be pleased very easily, very, very easily. There are a lot of stories we can go around.
That's why it's called Bhola. Bhola as well. Bhola means somebody
Bholenath.
very naive, isn't
Yeah.
it?
I don't know whether if you see the no, but you are not a member of that group. We have a Ramayana group. I made a poster where we actually created an invitation, wedding invitation.
Oh, so nice.
Was that Bholenath
Ji.
get married, wedded to Ma Bhagavati,
Ji.
Uma.
Ji.
So we gave it all the members, and I sent it to Sanjay as well. I said, please post it.
Right. Yes. No, so wisely said. Yes,
Yeah.
The Adi Yogi, Shivji, and then in tradition, all this knowledge has always been transferred from the gurus to disciples in wordly form, isn't it? And then around, I think around 400 or 500 BCE is when Maharshi Patanjali actually put it all together in the form of text.
Yeah.
So Maharshi Patanjali is actually known as the father of modern yoga. So not that yoga came from him, but putting it all together in the form of text. And I was actually reading somewhere, and it said all our Vedas are in the form of mantras, right? They're all verses, and they all flow very nicely in terms of music. But the sutras that Maharshi Patanjali wrote down, they are not in the form of verses.
No.
And there was a very specific reason behind it, because in the form of verses, and they also started getting misinterpreted quite easily. So he put it down in very monotonous and a very boring way, if you like, so that the real seeker would actually go and start to understand what it actually means.
Absolutely.
And the first verse of Patanjali's Yoga Sutra says, Atha Yoga Anushasanam. And it's a half sentence, if you see how deep it is. Yeah. That now let yoga begin, or the discipline of yoga begin.
Right? I will put another extension to this shloka.
Ji.
And see, yoga also advocate sarve bhavantu sukhinam, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani prachantu ma kaschitu bhagve. What a beautiful word. Ask for happiness, nirogyam. That also wishing that nobody gets any sort of ailment.
Yes.
This can we achieve from yoga.
Absolutely.
This can we achieve from yoga.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And then coming towards West, it was actually Swami Vivekananda who brought yoga to Americas in 1870s or something. Although I think at that time when he brought it here, it was not the physical yoga that we do today. It was more around meditation that he talked about. in
Bhakti yoga,
the world conference that he attended in America at that time.
Chicago is the Chicago conference.
Chicago conference, yes.
There's an incident. Because when he was invited to Chicago, and he was not on the list, but somehow his followers or his admirer managed to get him on the list for 5 minutes.
Right.
And those 5 minutes, when he said, "My brothers and sisters of America," they were more than enough. Then one of the chaplain or one of the Christian gurus who was not in favor of this,
yes,
he invited him to his house.
And
then there were a lot of books. Then he saw Srimad Bhagavad Gita right on the bottom, and that was there intentionally to humiliate him. But Vivekananda did a positiveness out of this negativeness. I said, "What a beautiful foundation."
Oh, beautiful. And that is the presence of mind that yoga gives as well, because then there is so much of clarity in the mind, isn't it, Sharma?
It is.
And it also reminds me another story about Swami Vivekananda that I don't know whether it's true or not, but I heard that in one of such conferences, I don't know whether that was the same one in Chicago or somewhere else, he had been invited. But one of the other, similar gentlemen who wasn't in favor of getting Vivekananda ji there, so they were having this lunch or dinner together, and Swamiji's seat was at that table, and this gentleman said, "Pigs and birds cannot sit together." So Swamiji said, "Yes, it's easy for birds to fly away." So he got up and he went to another table. He flew away.
I heard about this one. I know that. I heard that. Yeah.
Something like that. So such awareness and such presence of mind, I think, can only be brought by when we are into this present moment.
Yeah. See, Sooksham, there's a myth, that yoga is related to Hinduism, even though I say it's extension, but not necessarily. The certain religion, they will not join because of this, right? Okay, if you do yoga, pranayam, om ucharan, right? You are actually propagating Hinduism. And I was asked this question once, that why are you imposing this on us, on the Christianity? Sorry, you shouldn't be taking name, but just for the sake of reference, I apologize if I hurt anybody's sentiment. But I said, no, this is not. My answer to them is, look at the West. How many studios are there? And most of them are owned by the Western. And they are not Hindus.
Yes.
Most of the comments you can see on different websites, not made by Hindus. They're made by people, those who followed the yoga, got benefited from it, made living out of it, and they preached it. Then they found, look, yes, there's a reality, there's a truth behind yoga. So that's why they made comments.
Yes. No, it's so true. Like even Sri was actually founder of Art of Living. He also says, see, we should get the nice things from every part of the world, right? We all know about German breads. We all love them. We all love Chinese food. We all love Indian spices, Indian curries, right? We all know Nokia phone in the past, obviously, it was from Finland, right? Now Samsung is from Korea, So all the knowledge that we have, because, we also talk about Vasudev Kutumbakam. The whole world is one family. So if the whole world is one family, then there should not be any issue in getting on and imbibing the knowledge from different parts of the world, right? Yes, yoga comes from East, but what I also say, Sharmaji, is breath is not only belonging to a certain religion. You know, when we are doing this pranayamas, breathing exercises, or these postures which are for this whole body, this body does not belong to a religion, right? This is our own body. So something that we are doing for our own body is it's a little bit harsh to put that on one religion, I think, isn't it? It is all
Give us an
encompassing.
example. Yeah. Remember, see, when we did our first International Day of Yoga in
Ji.
Belfast City Hall lawns, deliberately I asked one of the local girl, Elizabeth,
I remember that.
to one of the instructor. Remember?
Yes, last year we were there in the grounds of city hall. Yes,
And she did. You know,
yes,
exercise.
and I think much better than a lot of people who were, from India, I would say.
Well, the idea behind the International Day of Yoga was, especially in Belfast, to bring ordinary people out.
Gee.
The exercise done by ordinary people.
Hmm.
Even this year, we had about 60, 65 people logged in and 30 couldn't log in.
All online this time.
Online.
Different. But I
So
think it actually gathered more crowd than
it is.
last time.
And one of the first person, Mr. Kaushal from Glasgow,
Gee.
he's 81.
Hmm.
He's properly trained by Ramdev. He went to India.
Right,
He
right.
stayed in the camp. I think spent about 1 lakh or something.
Hmm.
And he's a certified instructor.
Instructor as well.
He takes classes in Glasgow, and they also did international yoga in the mandir.
Hmm.
And he happens to be my Mamaji.
Oh, beautiful.
We are like brothers, you know.
Yes,
We're brought
yes,
up.
yes. Very nice, very nice. I know we have touched a little bit upon why we should, or why we should do yoga in this time specifically. But let's also talk a little bit more about what is the relevance of yoga in these days, in these times specifically. In 21st century. What would be your words or your knowledge for those who are maybe getting onto this path just now, or maybe who are nipping in and out of it? What will be your message for them? Why should they do it?
I think in the somewhere in the beginning of our conversation, I mentioned this one.
Sanjay.
The necessity of yoga in modern life, where our life is full of tension. We have a lot of things on our mind, pressure of jobs, pressure of achieving goals set up by either by you or by your employer, or maybe with your business, your competitors. Is a accumulation of a lot of things which affects. A 15 to 20 minutes, that's a basic. I'll say half an hour time, which is not difficult. It's just a matter of getting half an hour early. Okay? Like my day start 5:30. Okay, after doing my steps, 10,000 steps in the morning, I do 40 minutes yoga.
You do 10,000 steps in the morning?
Every morning. Every morning.
Wow. Such an inspiration.
What's that?
Such an inspiration.
It's because it was a lockdown, put it like that.
Right.
But I usually used to do 10,000 during 15,000 during the day. But what I'm saying is, if you get up, instead of getting up 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, get up 6:30. Okay? Go downstairs, sit down, put a tape. On the YouTube, you get a lot of Om chanting in the background. Meditate. Start with meditation. Then pranayam. Sit in the Sukhasana. If you can't sit in the Padmasana, slowly build. Have your mind and body fresh. Then you go for the breakfast. Maybe it takes 20, 25 or 30 minutes break, whatever it is. Then you will see the freshness in your mind. You will achieve your goal less than half of the time. For your working time, you can say. You can do the same in the evening before you go to bed. But it's again your commitment. There's a necessity, but depend who wants to use that word. If you love your body, you take the right path. yoga is that one of them which will take you to the right path.
Okay.
The right path to your discipline, wavering of mind, chitta. You know, once your body and mind are on the same wavelength, you will receive, you will feel the enlightenment. You know, once you have hit that my body, my head are light, my tensions have pushed them away slightly. They are there, they are not going away. But you'll be relieved, you'll have a time to resolve them properly. Because you have an eternal energy. By doing pranayam, your lungs are good. See, you're feeling fresh. And by doing meditation, Om Ucharan, then the sound of Om right in the middle, Om, you know, vibrates. Vibrates through the eyes, nostril system, and goes to your heart. While I'm talking to you, I'm feeling goosebumps, you know, because of the feeling it gives you. That's why yoga is the only way to relieve your tension and pressure in the modern life.
So how does it actually work? You know, so we have obviously physical exercises associated with yoga and meditation. How does it work to bring the mind to this moment? How, like, what are the mechanics behind it?
Very simple. Very simple. That's my experience. Doesn't matter what the textbook says.
This is all experiential anyways, Sharma, isn't it?
Yes. Right. How do I do it? Or how did I start it? In India, my life was very stressful because I was working here as well and running here and there. Then I said, what I'm doing. So, because at that time, my yoga wasn't that serious, you know. Do it tomorrow, do it something. But when I came to this country, I found that yoga can be very helpful to how to do it. I'll sit down in Sukhasana, that's it, close my eyes and concentrate on the one light, like candlelight, far away in the darkness. And bring the whole thing is just eyebrows to here. The only part you see the top of the nose. That means you're bringing everything together. And only thing you can visualize is that light. Om Ucharan. It might take you a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, month, 4 months. Who cares?
It's a practice. Yes, takes time.
But you will have the benefits immediately. In the very first sitting, you see the difference. Then it goes on, it grows on you. Then you start doing the pranayam, Brahmari, one of the best pranayam. You know, relaxes you. Then you do the other asanas. There are a lot of there. You do the Kapalbhati. And but the Kapalbhati helps you to, you know, control your stomach and digestive system. So again, Sooksham, it depends from person to person. Do they want to go quick, like a Western exercise?
Yes.
Or achieve your destination, go to your destination slowly.
Yes.
One thing in yoga is it needs calmness, not rushing. Somebody asked me, what's the difference between exercise and yoga? I said, in exercise, you receive the result right away, but with the pain, your body start aching. But in yoga, you receive the result which is long lasting. When you do exercise, you can do muscles and you can make, you know, 6 packs, whatever it is. But the moment you stop, after 2 weeks, starts going bad because you're suppressing your body with the sort of artificial activities. But whereas with yoga, you're releasing it. You're releasing a toxic within your body.
जी, जी.
And even if you don't do for a couple of weeks because of some commitments,
You don't take steps back. Yes.
That's why it's yoga.
And also, I think going back to the actual meaning of yoga, it's not so much about physical exercises again, right? It's about getting this mind back into this present moment. You mentioned about the stress and tensions that we have. I think it's important for us to also understand where do they come from, isn't it? This anxiety, these worries, or the fear or anger, where does it come from? It all comes when our mind is not actually in this present moment, right? It's all when we are thinking about something that has happened to me in the past. Somebody said something to me and I get angry about it, right? Or I'm thinking too much about what is going to happen to me in the future. We get tensed and we get anxious. So the problem
Log kya kahenge? What the people will say.
What will people think about me, isn't it? So that is all what brings up all these negative emotions and all these worries and anxieties. But the question then is, how do we actually bring our mind into the present moment? And that is what yoga does, isn't it? Doing these physical exercises, doing the pranayams, that is when the mind comes into this present moment. That is when we actually understand what this joy is, what this life is, how beautiful it is. Otherwise, we are just missing living it out, isn't it?
I'll bring a couple of lines from Gita, Bhagavad Gita, Gita Sar. It says, what is going to happen is going to happen. Jab jab jo jo hona tab to so hota hai.
Ji.
Bhagwan Krishna very clearly says that when you do your duty, there are three types of duty. All yoga is three types, or even bhakti is three types.
Sattvic, tamasic, rajasic.
But when we do sattvic kriya or sattvic, what is anything we do it brings good result. So Bhagwan Krishna also said, do your duty, but don't aspire for the fruit of it. Don't implicate with the desire of getting something out of it. Exactly. Once your yoga or once your activities are implicated with desire, if you achieve but not the extent where you wanted, it creates stress.
Yes.
If you don't receive at all, it's more stress. So why not just let the nature play its role? You do your hard work. For example, you have been to university, I've been to university. As soon as we finish our exams on that particular day, we would know where we are. Because if we have studied all year round, we know what marks we're going to get it.
Correct.
If you haven't studied, we can't say, look, oh, the exam was very tough, It's tough because we were not prepared for it.
It's about giving the 100% that we have, and then let the results be as they would be, isn't it? Yes. Amazing. So also in their busy lives, as you said, I think what is important is giving that little bit of extra time to our own selves to, we have this choice of either we keep on suffering because life is still going to throw all the tantrums that it is, right? It is not always going to be rosy. So there are going to be good times and bad times. Absolutely. I think we don't have a choice over that. What we do have a choice over is whether we actually end up suffering or not. And I think this yoga is such a beautiful tool to end that suffering, where we can get our mind into this present moment. We can get clarity of mind, more focus, more energy, more strength. And that is what is needed in today's world, isn't it?
I'll give one example. In 2005, I was standing in the restaurant Saturday night, busy. So all of a sudden I felt that getting stressed up, tight up. Asked one of the boys, I take me to the hospital.
Right.
And I was taken to CCU right away within 1 hour. My blood pressure over 200. In spite of doing my yoga and everything, because of tension. As soon as it was taken in, The consultant was one of my best friends and my customer. His words, Ashok, life or business? I said, Brian, life. 2005, 2020.
Gee.
Life first. Business comes and goes. As I said, I don't bring my business home.
Gee. Simple. Yes. Life just...
A lot of places you can do a lot of charity work, a lot of do community work. Go to temple, work for temple. Give you a lot of relaxation. Takes you away from business.
Gee.
Set the rules. This is what I'm going to do. That's what I want to achieve it. And don't set a goal, everyday goal.
Yes.
Set monthly goal.
Yes, little longer goals.
Which means less stress.
No, that's very true, Sharmaji. As you said, like there are two different extremes in people also, isn't it? Like there are people who are really dedicated and really into the service work, but they don't have these tools to keep themselves up and running, isn't it? And then they burn out, right? And then there are people on the other extreme where they are really deep into meditation, but you don't really see joy coming out of their face because they're not into service work.
That's why I said earlier on that if you want to do yoga, you must enjoy it.
Must enjoy it.
You must be in. In mean 100%.
Yes. Mentally,
physically, ethically, whatever the kali they are.
And exactly, as I said, in the 8 limbs of yoga that Maharishi Patanjali has said, the first one is yama and niyama, which is all about discipline and abstinence.
Absolutely,
all about our non-violence and truthfulness. All of that goes into those first 2 branches of yoga itself. It's so beautifully put together.
Look at one simple scenario. In olden time, why did we sit on the floor with the Sukhasana while having our food?
Yes, so much science behind it.
The reason was,
yes, tell us.
Once you eat the food, because your body is all curled up, you're chewing it, it takes time to go through the insulin system. Nowadays, we're standing there in the parties and eating, but the food doesn't, it's not absorbed.
Yes, goes down quickly. Yes.
Goes down quickly. So we are deprived of the benefits of the food we have it. We always have sattvic food. Well, by vegetarian, you're vegetarian. So if we go to our past and see how knowledgeable our ancestors were, mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. I just give one small example of yoga. Sit in the Sukhasana on the floor, eating with your hands. When you're pressing it, you press your pressure points.
Pressure points.
You're eating it, you pressure points. And they're coming to it here, taste is totally different. So it's a small thing, but it goes long.
No, amazing words of knowledge and wisdom from you, Sharmaji. I would say, so, for the people, for these times, as we have said, that it's even more so important in these times, right? And I think going few years back, yes, yoga was probably like more of a taboo, but now it's becoming more of mainstream.
Fashion.
I think yes, fashion as well. But then at the same time, if somebody is really a student on this path, then what really is needed is that discipline that you just talked about, isn't it? That is the main crux of it. But then it also takes us out of so much of misery, so much of physical ailments, mental health is such a big thing these days. And even in so many schools nowadays, they have started to introduce meditation for children, which is such a great thing to see, isn't it?
It is.
I normally say it's a full cake package, right? So our asanas is the cake. This is my way of seeing it. The asanas that we do are the cake, right? And then the pranayamas or the breathing exercises that we do is the icing on the cake. And then the meditation is the cherry.
Absolutely.
All 3 go hand in hand.
Yeah. While we're talking this one, I just mentioned another aspect of, see, in my childhood, I was not allowed to drink water while standing.
Yes. We don't do that either now.
The reason was,
Yes.
the reason was, once you drink water while standing, it goes right to your knees, creates arthritis.
Creates arthritis, yes.
What a wonderful thing.
Mm.
They always say, try to drink lukewarm or slightly warm water in the morning.
Mm.
Because you're lying down, the fats are there, everything is there. Nice hot water takes away your constipation.
Yes.
And constipation is root cause of over 100 ailments.
Yes.
That's where I always say, look,
Yeah.
Hinduism is not a myth. It's not mythology. It's a philosophy.
Such a science. Yes. Such a
philosophy with the proof.
Yes. Also as it said, drink as you eat and eat as you drink. So the water, whatever we are drinking, should go down so slowly. And same as food, that when we are eating food, it should be chewed so much in the mouth that it should become like a drink. So eat as you drink and drink as you eat. So beautiful.
Absolutely.
Amazing. So your last words, Sharmaji, on somebody who's maybe just starting on it or who are thinking, how do we start? I know you mentioned about, what are the basic steps that people can do if they don't have the support structure, maybe? What are the basic postures that they can do? You mentioned about a little bit of meditation as well. So, maybe 15 minutes of daily practice that somebody can do. If you just want to recap that for our viewers or whoever is listening.
Sooksham, to me, you should start with the dhyan, then pranayam. Okay, then go to the asana while you're sitting there, like butterfly asanas you have there, right?
Yeah. So many of them online as well.
And relaxing your shoulders and Tadasana is one of them.
Yes, strengthen the
spine. Lying down is, yeah.
Yes.
Ekpadasana, Then, what else? I'm not very good at names, but all those which, all those asana which don't put too much stress on you.
Too much stress on you. And it has to be taken very easily and gently as well. Not stretching a little bit, but not really putting yourself into an uncomfortable position.
That's why they say, after doing pranayam, don't do any asanas which are very which are very hard.
Yes.
So to me, my and I won't say advice, but my suggestion to the newcomers will be start with the meditation, Om, sit down, Sukhasana, for 4 and 5 minutes, 10 minutes, Om Vilom, Bhastrika, if they can do it, Kapalbhati. It's easy to start and very beneficial. Then butterfly or Titri asana, Tadasana. That's enough. Then they can go from there. They can go.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Sharmaji, for your time, and I would like to also thank ImageNation NI for giving us this platform to to have this conversation. So thank you. Thank you.
So nice of you. So nice of you. I don't know whether I have given enough enlightenment on the yoga, because I said my knowledge is it's my experience.
Yes. No, it's very, very enriching, very helpful.
That's why I said I'm not very good with the names, but what I have achieved, what I have attained so far from my personal experience, I've shared with you.
That's beautiful.
So nice of you. God bless you. It's always good to talk to you, Atansha.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Uncle. Thank you so much.
Namaskar.